Sorry to interrupt this great video, but please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you. Now back to the video.
I was texting our buddy Ethan Strauss the other day, and do you think it's been one of the faster cultural shifts, definitely in my life, in American history? I mean, last week it was announced. I personally, I think journalists love to say Dave Portnoy is really polarizing. Yeah. People in my life just are entertained by Dave. He's just an entertaining figure. But Shane Gillis's monologue is a good example of a couple years ago. ESPN would have probably had a boycott and would have had to issue an apology, I would say less than 12 hours later. And not only did it not matter, it's like everyone was just laughing. Right? Well, it's like everyone just relax a little bit, take a deep breath. Like you don't have to get offended at every single little thing in life. And obviously now Barstool and Dave and those guys are going to, I think, lead into your show, right? Yeah. Moving forward, starting in the
I think any time there's a strong action, the country went very left and the term used was woke, there's going to be an equally strong reaction where moderates and people on the right said, no, that shit don't play. Florida got it right with COVID, not California. So there was a very strong cultural shift left during COVID. And I think, I like Elon Musk buying Twitter, not because I think it's a better product, but I did think it got really weird and that people were just outraged by everything. And I don't like that. I'm a moderate. I want both sides uncomfortable. So, yeah, I mean, first of all, I've never thought Barstool was a good fit with ESPN. I just never thought it was a good fit. I didn't think that show was going to last 15 minutes. I think it works at Fox because Fox News is sort of the example of, the New York Post and Fox News are owned by the Murdoch family. They have strong convictions on the right. And you can call them whatever you want. They don't care. And so Fox Sports is under, although it's all a silo business, to some degree is not protected, but we're under sort of the umbrella of Fox News and the New York Post. The Murdoch family is very comfortable with you having lots of opinions. I know Sage Steele and I don't know Sam Ponder, but there are points that Sage Steele makes that are very legitimate. And I say that as somebody who leans left socially and is a moderate. So I think Barstool works at Fox. This is my take on it. So I think they were brought in for digital. I think they have power, prowess, and a footprint on digital. If I could say this, even if it offended my bosses, I don't think Fox is necessarily, that's not our strength, our digital presence. Barstool's great at it. Secondly,
you could argue the best when it comes to sports. They've been
So they solve a Fox Sports problem. Secondly, I think our management looks at our college game day as having more juice and energy, and Portnoy is going to bring some of that young, youthful, shit-stirring energy. I think he absolutely does. Then I think the third most important thing after digital and a big noon kickoff is FS1. And my take is, they're going to do a 2-hour show and then the replay of it's going to be in front of me. So replays don't necessarily do that well. The show may do well. Its replay, which is right in front of me, probably won't. Portnoy is going to be on it, I think, Monday, but not that often. Big Cat will be on it, but maybe not that often, according to him. There's a lot of stuff that's not being talked about that I'm not aware of. They're not, So my take is, of the three things they were brought into Fox for, I think Big Noon and digital were the most important. My guess is, based on what I'm hearing about Portnoy, pardon my take, guys, they'll do a 2-hour show and then they'll run it again as a replay. So that's not necessarily a dynamic lead-in, but I think it is a cost-effective measure, and it makes us younger on FS1, which I'm for. In fact, I think I can tell this story. So 6 months ago, an executive, a big dog upstairs, called me into his office and said, hey, what do you think about Portnoy on our college football show? And I said, well, he's not a traditional broadcaster, so I don't think it's fair for Fox to hold him to that. Let him be a personality. Let him be a social influencer. Don't hold him to Rob Stone or Tom Rinaldi I don't think that's fair. I think you get in trouble when you ask Dave to be something he's not. Dave is a shitster, a social influencer, very nimble, very funny. It's like you're getting kind of this running stand-up comedy thing. It's very effective, especially virally trending. He's great at it. He's absolutely phenomenal at it. Let him be that. Don't turn him into something. Let him do that, and I think it'll be a big additive. That was my take. I don't know Dave at all, but we all know Dave. And then I said, and they asked me about some content stuff, and I said, listen, I don't want to be culpable for anything that goes on beyond my show. I do my show. I'm good friends with Nick Wright. I care about him. I don't want to be culpable for any of this stuff. But I said, if you're asking me what I would do if I ran FS1, I said, if Portnoy's you're interested in, I would go hire, pardon my take, I think Big Cat is a lead on TV. I would hire him as a lead, and then, his partner, and then whoever he and his partner are comfortable with. That's a TV show. So that's what I said 6 months ago. Now, it was a 10-minute meeting. It's not like FS1 needs me to, diagram their playbook. And that was the last I talked about it. And so it was pretty interesting when the story broke. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that kind of is what we were talking about. But I just didn't want to be culpable. I didn't want other shows, I don't want people to lose their jobs. I'm not into that stuff. But I do think it's a really good fit. I think Fox allows you to have opinions from whatever angle you want. You don't have to be partisan. I mean, I would say, I think Nick Wright would be he said it on this podcast. He leans more left. They don't care. And Jesse Walter's more right. It doesn't matter. Like Fox has never once come to me and, hey, slow down on that. They don't care. Where ESPN, there is proof. It is documented. They do care. I think they've improved over the last couple of years, but it was pretty stridently left for several years there. And it made a lot of people uncomfortable. And I think that's fair. I don't think companies should be telling you what to say about your politics. Now, if you want to tell your talk show host on ESPN or Fox in a sports show, don't talk politics, that's fine. But don't tell them what side of politics they have to go and bang the table on. If you're going to allow political talk, then allow all of it. That's my take. Yeah. So I think Barstool works at Fox.
I think there's obviously just a rawness, and this is why a lot of people have had success on the internet is, anything flies and the consumer then dictates whether you're successful or not.
That's right.
When I was a kid, if you got a job at the San Francisco Chronicle, you're going to be pretty successful because the newspaper controlled a lot, right? Or on one of the local stations. Now it's like you can create it yourself. And no one's done a better job from the jump for the last couple decades than Dave building it from scratch. But, whenever like I said, I see people calling him polarizing. I just know a lot of people that just like him. They'll view him as entertaining. And I think that's where he fits in on Fox. I think actually that's kind of overblown. That's everyone's take. It's like, yeah, this is 2025. Maybe if it was 10 years ago, but we live in a completely different climate, one. And two, Fox, you guys, I would say, obviously, a broadcast, like if you're doing a football game or a baseball game, that's different. So different than anything else. But just in terms of regular programming, like you said, there aren't as many guardrails. Like be yourself, or ESPN, I would say definitely even past you leaving, leaned even more into like, this is what we do, stick into this. And you are only allowed to be on one side, which is obviously bad business. Who do you think is watching football? Have you guys seen the demos of the football watching audience? Like where the men lean in this country? Like, guys, this isn't just a math problem. And you lean away with it, you lean away from it, you deserve to fail because it's pretty basic at this point in time who stands where.
I think you have to be fair to Barstool. If you bring Barstool in, let them be Barstool. I think when ESPN brought in Barstool and after a show, they're like, whoa, well, did you watch? Did you consume their content? Give me a break. It's like, to me, if you're going to bring him in, and this is what I told the executive upstairs, just, you have to understand, Dave's not a classic broadcaster. So don't hold him to that. Like I'm not Tom Rinaldi or Joe Buck. I'm an opinionist. I am you're going to get a lot of hate mail and a lot of pushback on my opinions. Don't hold me to Joe Davis's brilliance doing baseball. Like, where if you're getting massive criticism, maybe you'd be concerned. If you're a generalist, that's the name of the game.
When do we get the Pardon My Take Colin Cowherd collaboration?
Well, whenever they want, I'm available. I don't think they've ever.
Yeah, I mean, you're in Chicago, they're in Chicago. Now we have the synergy with Fox. I mean, it's just they're football guys, you're football guys. It's time, Colin.
Probably is.
Yeah, I mean, it really
I don't know.
is.
You know what? I don't. Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, I know who everybody is. They really do the podcast game right. They're smart. They're funny. They make news, and that's a big part of it. A part of what Barstool does very well is they make news.
Yeah.
Like, that's important. They know the touchstones. They know the things people are talking about. And so, traditional media has done themselves no favors over the last 10 years. They have a lower approval rating than Congress. Like, and I'm in the media. I read, I'm a subscriber to the New York Times, the Atlantic, but I read stuff cynically. Like, I know, I don't read it and just think, I'll take their word for it. I don't think I read it like that 10 years ago. I read it like that now. I mean, that Joe Biden stuff, I'm sorry, that's as bad as the media has ever done in my lifetime, where just basically it's pretty clear now they were covering up for him. Like, I'm sorry.
I watched your I think it was it yesterday on Saturday you put out a little video on the Colbert canceling, and I was thinking back, I love Letterman as a kid, and anytime, especially when I was young, could stay up late. My parents, and as you get older, you stay up as late as you want. You always went to those. I was a little too young for Johnny Carson, but Peacock put out a bunch of stuff, and I've watched them on YouTube. It was an easy watch. So whether you were a huge liberal, whether you're a big conservative, whether you don't care about politics, it had nothing to do with that. Yeah. And honestly, society shifted. I grew up in a very liberal town. I am not a liberal. And everyone just kind of got along. You didn't even talk about it that often. And now society, and I think sometimes the media, they live even more in this kind of insulated bubble, and they think it's like, you don't have to talk about this. Like, I'm coming to you to just laugh, to enjoy myself. And that's where sports, when they shifted away from that, I would say over the last decade, a lot of people in the sports media, it's like, guys, this guy has a hard job. He's got 2 kids. His life's stressful. When he turns on a sports program, definitely a game, he's just trying to relax. He does not need to get lectured. And one, you don't even know how he thinks. And 2, to tell him that he's on the wrong side of history about something, he's going to turn you off. It's not what he's coming for. And the lecture element of so many people, I think, in newspapers, on traditional, political shows, is just not what a human being. Life's stressful. I got a baby on the way. You got a mortgage. You just got, your parents are getting older. You just got stresses in life. You don't always need to be lectured.
A lot of people, and this is my take, the traditional media, whether they admit it or not, are often writing and broadcasting to other media for the approval of other media. Podcasters aren't.
No.
Podcasters are talking to the consumer. Joe Rogan is trying to create the most interesting show to the consumer. He does not give 2 shits about what other podcasters think of him. Traditional media is writing a column that deep down they're seeking the approval of their industry. And I've said this about late night TV over the last 8 to 10 years. Sometimes Carson did a show for the country. Letterman did it for the inside joke. Letterman didn't care about critics. Carson, I read his books, didn't either. I feel like today's hosts and producers on that late night stuff want to make sure the New Yorker accepts them. They're looking for the article, and I think that's how.
Why would they have 200 people working on a show? I mean, I've been a part of your operation. Could you imagine having 100 people working? I mean, how could you possibly, on a 1-hour show, have that many people involved? How many writers do you need? I can't comprehend that, let alone from, and I understand when you're in it, you might not see the balance sheet of like, okay, we're losing $50 million. The company has a better feel for that than maybe the people working on it, but they'd have to have some feel for like, is this really adding up what we're doing here? And they conduct yourself the way they are to lose $50 million a year. That's insane.
I think late night shows ate themselves alive. By talking politics, they turned off younger viewers. Colbert's average audience is 68. He talks politics. So they ate themselves alive. That they were getting critical approval, but Colbert's show got older. It turned off young people. It turned off advertisers. Last 6 years, 50% of ad revenue, late shows, too political, gone.
Yeah.
The second thing is the only time that Jimmy Kimmel or a Colbert or a Seth Meyers knows his show is going to be great when he wakes up in the morning is if he has another great comedian on it. If Seinfeld's going on Seth Meyers, if the late Norm Macdonald was going on Conan, if Kimmel has Bill Burr, Jimmy wakes up knowing it's a great show. The rest of the time, all those shows have to bring on Hollywood people that they don't really watch or care about their show. You rely on skits or a monologue to hit. And the truth is, Hollywood now is so terrified of saying something that will alienate people within Hollywood that it's fluff. They don't say anything. You go back and watch Letterman. Actors and actresses came on and took their tops off.
Yeah.
They didn't care. Letterman's people were dancing on the set. It was sexual. It was inappropriate. Nobody cared. The only time you get that now on the late night shows is if Bill Burr, Ricky Gervais, John Mulaney, any comedian comes on. That's when the Kimmels wake up in the morning going, Burr's on tonight. Chappelle's on tonight. You rely on other comedians who are unfiltered. If you're relying on Hollywood, it is so pressurized not to offend somebody. I mean, whatever you think of Rob Schneider, like when Rob went right with his politics, it's like career over, right? Like that's, yeah. I have like two friends in Hollywood. I don't play in the game at all, but they're like, listen, you can feel it. There are conversations and opinions you're not going to have in these rooms pitching a project. And so I think they ate themselves. Late night TV ate themselves. They got too political. They got too partisan. And the truth is, the only time that I really want to watch late night now is if the host, who's a comedian, has another brilliant comedian, and you get this moment with 15 minutes of two really funny guys shooting the shit, making each other laugh. Conan and Norm Macdonald, rest in peace. Seinfeld or Seth Meyers, Fallon, or like Kimmel gets one of his guys on. That's 15 minutes of great TV.
Do you think podcasts wipe them out, though, a little bit? Because Conan can create a podcast, and you can listen to that, and it's an easy listen.
Podcasts are more authentic, more raw, more real. When I watch late night TV, it feels neutered, sanitized, and edited. And the only time it doesn't is when the host, who's a funny guy, comedian, stand-up guy, gets another comedian. Then I got 15 minutes of great TV. Other than that, the Hollywood stuff, not remotely interested.
Yeah, totally agree.
All right, buddy.
Have a good Sunday.
You too.